Ristarti, the goddess of healing, had quite the adventure on her hands this time. Born in the realm of gods about a century ago, she had summoned heroes from Earth to save the world on 5 different occasions. This time she was assigned to save Gaia Brando, a world teeming with S-rank monsters that even veteran gods were afraid of. Ristarti knew she had her work cut out for her, especially with her healing abilities in a world of savage monsters. To secure her own safety and reach the level of a fully fledged god, Ristarti began studying every human candidate for her summoning. That's when she stumbled upon CA Record, a level 1 human with a status that screamed Paragon. She was immediately drawn to his attractive presence and strong divine aura. She couldn't help but entertain the forbidden thought of a human-god relationship with Seiya. However, Seiya turned out to be quite the surprise. He was overly cautious and anxious about everything, and he even called Ristarti selfish when she insisted that he couldn't withdraw from his mission. No matter how hard Ristarti tried to convince him, doubts still prevailed. One day, as Ristarti's annoyance peaked, Seiya removed his shirt and Ristarti thought he was going to flirt with her. To her dismay, Seiya began doing push-ups, proclaiming that he would only venture into a dangerous parallel world once his skills satisfied him. Ristarti decided to seek advice from Eriadoa, the goddess of sealing, who assured her that being cautious was better. She even gave Ristarti some measures to earn Seiya's favor. Armed with rice cakes, Ristarti returned to Seiya. Despite her genuine approach, Seiya refused to eat the food, doubting that it might contain poison. In a desperate attempt to prove her innocence, Ristarti ate the rice cakes herself, but her patience had its limits, and she left Seiya with some basic supplies and a small buzzer for when he was ready to start their mission. After a week of waiting, Seiya finally pressed the buzzer, signaling the start of their adventure. Despite Seiya's abnormal doubts and cautious nature, Ristarti saw a softer side of him when he kept a paper charm given to him by a young girl. After equipping Seiya with armor and weapons, they set out to hunt slimes, the weakest of creatures. However, Seiya remained cautious, even unleashing unnecessarily strong skills. This attracted Chaos Machina, one of the 4 great kings of the Demon Lord's army who intended to kill Seiya. What followed was mind-blowing. Instead of fighting, Seiya confidently ran away, creating a smokescreen and asking Ristarti to open a portal to the god's realm. Seiya saved her from almost getting caught by Machina, and once they arrived in Seiya's room, he promptly kicked Ristarti out, claiming she was disrupting his training. After 2 days, Ristarti decided to use a crystal ball to check on Machina's rampage. The sight of the chaos alarmed her, but Seiya remained focused on his training even after seeing the young girl Nina's distress through the crystal ball. Seiya suspected that the charm Nina had given him was cursed, which left Ristarti feeling disappointed in her choice of hero. But then Seiya finally geared himself up and declared that he was ready. He knew that if he died, the world would perish and he couldn't afford to die recklessly. He revealed his insane power-ups, and it became clear that he could finally compete with Machina. As the battle raged on and Machina unveiled a stronger form, chaos erupted. Machina even stabbed herself, unleashing a demonic creature. It should have been the end for Seiya, but he proved to be even more powerful than anyone had anticipated. Ristarti was left in awe, realizing that Seiya was hiding his true status even from her. The insane improvements in Seiya's abilities left Ristarti in awe. He swiftly finished their battle in midair, minimizing the damage caused by the explosions. Villagers gathered around Seiya and Ristarti, offering gifts as tokens of gratitude. However, Seiya paid no attention to them. Instead, he diligently cleaned up Machina's remains. He fired constant flame spells, ensuring every last bit of Machina's cells was obliterated. Seiya's determination to make sure Machina was truly dead even led to unintentional fires in the village. Despite Seiya's odd behavior, he had saved Nina's father, and Ristarti remained grateful for that. Seiya wasted no time and ordered the creation of a portal to return to the god's realm for another round of training. Ristarti knew they needed to scout Gaia Brando and complete their mission as soon as possible. And just as Ristarti was pondering their next move, Seiya burst into her room. Eriadoa was immediately captivated by Seiya's presence. Seiya had already maxed out his workout skills, but had no intention of fighting monsters at the moment. Eriadoa suggested a different approach. If Seiya didn't want to fight monsters, he could undergo training with a god. This would not only enhance his skills, but also ensure his safety. Eriadoa introduced them to Cerseus, the god of swords, who warned Seiya about his rigorous training method. The first day of Seiya's training with Cerseus went smoothly, but on the 2nd and 3rd days, Seiya showed incredible improvement, driving Cerseus to become obsessed with beating him. Eventually, Cerseus lost weight and looked distressed, leaving Ristarti with a sense of impending trouble. Determined to understand the situation, Ristarti sought out Cerseus, only to find him hiding from Seiya under a seaweed stall. Cerseus shared the challenges he faced while training with Seiya. Despite Seiya being 3 times stronger than him, Seiya refused to stop training until he was 100 times stronger. Just as they discussed this, Seiya appeared before them, and his mere presence intimidated Cerseus. Seiya's intense training with Cerseus continued, and Ristarte was summoned by the great goddess Ishtar, who revealed that Circe was once human and that training with Sia would greatly improve his skills. However, a nearby town was under attack by demons, and Ishtar asked Ristarte to take Sia and help the town while avoiding any consequences for the next town. Ristarte fetched Sia from his harsh training with Circe, and they headed to the town of Seymour. Upon their arrival, they found an undead army ambushing the town's castle. They rushed to a shop to obtain holy water, and then proceeded to a church where Seiya's companions were waiting. Seiya, however, surprised everyone by pouring holy water on the priest's head, revealing his true identity. Seiya incapacitated the undead priest, leaving him immobile while Ristar hurriedly carried their companions away, knowing that Seiya would not stop until the undead were reduced to ashes. The Church of Samael lay in ruins, and the site left a nun fainting. Mash and Alulu, two soldiers with the Dragon Razor's blood, introduced themselves to Seiya, who promptly doused them with holy water without hesitation. While Seiya's doubts were finally eased, he still refused to ally with Mash and Alulu, deeming them too weak to accompany him on his mission. When the town soldiers arrived, they explained everything and placed the blame for the church's destruction on the undead. The nun announced that Ristar was a goddess and Seiya was a hero sent to help the town. The commander, upon hearing this, immediately offered apologies for their earlier rudeness. He expressed gratitude for Seiya's efforts in defeating the posing priest, but Seiya, true to his character, preferred to accept money over compliments. After Seiya wiped out the undead army with a meteor strike, it became clear to Ristarte that he didn't really need Mash and Alulu's assistance. Seiya was immensely powerful on his own. Exhausted from the battle, Seiya finally asked for Ristarte's help in finding a place to stay. Meanwhile, Alulu came to Ristarte seeking the goddess's assistance in finding Mash, who hadn't returned since Seiya had injured the young boy's pride. When they entered Seiya's room, they found scattered weapons and messy crafts. Seiya had successfully synthesized a platinum sword from his hair, and obliviously asked for more, unconcerned about whether Ristarte would go bald or not. An argument between Seiya and Ristarte ensued until the landlady arrived with a gift for Seiya. With doubts about the gift possibly containing explosives, Ristarte reluctantly opened it, revealing a human-sized mirror. To her shock, she saw Mash's deteriorated state inside the mirror. Dethmagla, one of the 4 heavenly kings who specialized in overhauling monsters, had held Mash captive after Seiya wiped out his undead army. He'd been toying with Mash's body, but eventually got bored and decided to kill him in front of his colleagues. Instead of begging for his life, Mash left a powerful message for Seiya, stating that compared to him, Seiya was more deserving of being called a hero. Seiya stepped forward and used Ristarte's portal to land an attack using dimensional cutting, severing Dethmagla's left hand and infuriating the demon. Seiya then dragged Ristarte with him and requested that she open a portal to the demon's realm. On the other side, the enraged Dethmagla received a surprise hit as Seiya and Ristarte barged into his domain. Dethmagla generated a powerful ice monster, which posed a threat to Seiya, who specialized in fire magic. However, Seiya's overly cautious nature had already prepared him for such an encounter. He revealed a magic bracelet that granted him the ability to use ice magic. After immobilizing the monster, Seiya finished it off with his sword and approached Dethmagla, who still had some cleaning to do. Ristarte understood what Seiya meant and carried Mash away from Dethmagla's castle, where the devil's screams echoed. When Mash regained consciousness, Seiya ordered him to prepare to carry his bags instead of directly him. Seiya was recruiting Mash and Alulu to join his team. Mash, desperate to be Seiya's apprentice, knelt before the hero offering to carry his bags anywhere, anytime. Mash then revealed a prophecy from their village's lore. 16 years ago, a dragon descended from heaven, carrying Alulu and Mash with a prophecy that they would team up with a hero to defend Gaia Brando from the Demon Lord. Seiya agreed to accompany his new disciples, but he insisted on improving Mash and Alulu's abilities, first by training them in the god's realm with the help of Circe and the goddess of fire, Hestiaca. After dropping Mash and Alulu off with their trainers, Ristarte stayed with Seiya, who mentioned that he was looking for someone to train him. At that moment, Ristarte accidentally bumped into Valkyrie, the renowned goddess of destruction. Valkyrie aggressively grabbed Ristarte by the neck, bullying her for blocking her path. Seiya, often called the goddess of destruction, and an exhibitionist, rushed to challenge Seiya to a duel. However, Ariadoa arrived just in time to prevent the two from causing chaos. Ariadoa learned of Seiya's desire to find a new trainer and immediately introduced them to Adenella, the goddess of war. Adenella seemed entertained by their request to train Seiya, a human. On the first day, Ristarte observed Adenella resting in a corner, and compared to Circe, who regretted training Seiya, Adenella appeared more entertained on the second day. The adventure continued as Seiya's journey to become even more overpowered took unexpected twists and turns. Adenella's sudden transformation shocked Ristarte, leaving her perplexed about the goddess's change in character. The training came to an end on the third day, with Mash showing promising progress. However, Ilu's situation was different. Hestiaka revealed to Ristar that the young girl had no talent for flame magic. Sia, in his heartless manner, declined Adonailla's request to join his team and ignored Ellis's farewell cake, which infuriated the goddess. Despite Adonailla's tantrums, Sia decided to set off on their journey and let the other gods deal with her. Their journey went smoothly with Saye's help until the glowing marks on Mash and Ilulu's hands indicated that they had arrived at their destination. Instead of opening the seal in the traditional way using Mash and Ilulu's hands, Saya wasted no time and destroyed the gate. A dragon named Lagos appeared and brought them to Leviae, the great mother of the dragons. Levia used her power to reveal Mash's new dragon form, amazing Ilulu, who asked for Leviae's help in gaining her own form. However, a harsh truth was revealed. Ilulu was destined to offer her life and become Exudation, the sacred sword capable of defeating the Demon Lord. Leviae successfully instilled guilt in Ilulu by explaining that the Demon Lord's forces had already occupied 70 of the world and were causing suffering among the villagers. Despite Mash's efforts to convince Ilulu to decline, the idea that her sacrifice was the only way to avoid further catastrophe consumed her. Leviae gave them an opportunity to spend their last moments together. As they left the castle, Ilulu had a sullen expression, while Sia heartlessly insisted that she had to fulfill her destiny. At the banquet, during Ilulu's sacrificial ceremony, she was to jump into a dark abyss where her blood and flesh would be assimilated within the Dragon King's circle to become the Exudation. The Dragonauts cheered wildly, and they began dragging Ilulu toward the abyss, with Mash trying to intervene. But Sia suddenly appeared, taking Ilulu from them. Despite his harsh words to Ilulu, Saya was actually planning to save her and recruit her as his baggage carrier. He ridiculed the Dragonauts for thinking that a mere sword could defeat the Demon Lord. Suddenly, Mash and Ristar found themselves paralyzed on the ground, realizing that the food at the banquet had been laced with poison. Sia, ever the cautious hero, had anticipated this and had vomited everything he had consumed during the banquet. He saved everyone from Leviae, who transformed into a dragon using a synthesized sword. Leviae activated a curse using Ilulu's necklace, planning to kill her and continue with the ceremony. Leviae Timantine from me. He activated a powerful skill called Ultimate Wall, making her scales sturdy to defend against Sia's attacks. Sia's initial strikes had no effect, but with strong, persistent strikes, he pushed her off the cliff, ending their battle with ease. Ristarte recognized that it was Sia's caution that had saved everyone this time. A sword made from Leviae's body rose from the darkness, and Sia took a small amount of Ilulu's blood to transform the sword into Exudation. However, it was not the genuine Exudation that could defeat the Demon Lord, but a fake sword synthesized by Sia to deceive the Dragonauts and avoid further chaos. As they exited the cave, they encountered an army of knights waiting for them, their intentions unknown. On the other hand, the Demon Lord's army announced that they had an ultimate card to defeat Saya. The Roseguard Imperial Knights urgently approached Saya, seeking assistance, as their allies were facing a horde of fly demons led by their master, Beelzebub. When they arrived at the scene, the overwhelming number of fly demons forced Sia and his team to hide and observe the situation before formulating a plan. The battlefield grew increasingly gruesome as Beelzebub ordered his pawns to drop captured knights from great heights, creating a horrifying scene of splashed blood and lifeless bodies on the ground. Beelzebub announced that the assassinations would continue until Saya revealed himself. Although the fly demons lacked remarkable combat skills, their sheer speed posed a significant threat, requiring Sia to devise a concrete plan before confronting them. After the demons briefly retreated, Rosali, the army's captain, expressed her eagerness to attack the demon's lair along with Saya and his party. She immediately ordered her men to escort Sia to their fortress and plan their revenge. During their meeting, Saya presented several possibilities, which left Rosalie and the officials feeling anxious. In the end, Sia declared that he wasn't yet ready to face Beelzebub and needed another 3 days of training within the God's realm, where time passed more slowly than in the human world. Despite the risks, Saya pleaded with them to trust him and wait for at least 1 hour. However, Rosalie's desire for revenge for her fallen comrades overcame her rationality. She called Sia a coward, but Sia swiftly turned the situation around by reminding Rosalie that her men had died due to her impulsive decisions. This triggered Rosalie, who attempted to attack Sia, but he responded by giving her a stern slap, followed by more until she broke down in tears. With Rosalie in tears, Saya and his party departed from the human realm. Upon their arrival in the God's realm, Ristarte introduced Sia to Matisse, the goddess of archery known for her unparalleled accuracy with arrows. Saya's first training involved creating a bow made of fire. While Saya trained diligently, Ristarte received important news from Circe about how Saya was still causing chaos within their realm due to his overly cautious nature. Ristar rushed to Ariadoa for guidance, but the veteran goddess remained calm and assured her that there was nothing to worry about. Ariadoa even volunteered to train Mash and Ilulu, leaving Ristar with no other choice but to visit Adanella alone. Upon encountering Adanella's frightening demeanor, Ristarte rushed towards Sia in a panic. However, Adanella's strong intention to kill Sia immediately faded when Sia approached her, gently tapping her head and suggesting she comb her messy hair. Antonella ran away, her cheeks turning red as if she were an innocent woman in love. Ristar realized that she should have listened to Ariadoa's advice, as they all watched from a distance. In a span of 3 days, Ariadoa released Mash from his metamorphosis seal, allowing him to gain a dragon's arm without fully transforming into a dragonout. Ilulu discovered her unique skill, Delay and Haste, which allowed her to manipulate her opponent's movement speed. However, upon hearing about Sia's training with Metis, Ariadoa became alarmed, as Metis was known for her nymphomaniac tendencies and her habit of seducing summoned heroes. Ristarte rushed to check on Sia's situation at Metis' training grounds and was shocked by Metis' nearly naked state, as the goddess had tied herself up as a target. Metis claimed that Sia's final test was to successfully untie the ropes around her naked body, and once she fell to the ground, they could proceed with their passionate love. Sia didn't hesitate and shot an arrow directly into Metis' head, which left Ristarte astounded. Despite gods and goddesses being immortal, Metis was clearly irritated. Mash and Ilulu arrived, witnessing Metis' naked body as she descended from the target, annoyed by Sia's actions. Metis attacked Sia aggressively, even chasing Mash, who was embarrassingly watching Metis' exposed state. After Sia successfully immobilized Metis, they promptly returned to the human realm. In the human realm, according to the elders, Rosalie had impatiently ventured to Beelzebub's lair alone. Sia's face remained composed, as he had anticipated this situation and planned to use Rosalie as bait while he waited for the right moment to shoot the leader of the horde with an arrow. However, the demon leader snatched Rosalie and began flying higher, intending to drop her from a great height to her death. An arrow diverted the demon's attention, causing it to drop Rosalie. Ristarte, carrying Rosalie in her arms, watched as Sia finally revealed himself and successfully defeated the demon leader, firing arrows that transformed into light birds upon impact. Rosalie continued to refuse to acknowledge Sia as a hero, as he had fought the demon leader from a distance, but Sia paid little heed to her words. He called upon Mash and Ilulu for assistance to eliminate the remaining demons, though he ended up doing everything himself, firing numerous arrows with ease from a safe distance. After eliminating all the remaining fly demons, Sia instructed Ilulu to use her haste skill to increase Mash's speed. Mash's task was to gather the demon corpses in one place while Sia incinerated their remains until they turned to ashes. During this time, Rosalie arrived and provided them with a tip about legendary armor located in a shrine in Eastdale. Despite their exhaustion from constant battles, they decided to head to Eastdale. However, upon their arrival, they were greeted by a horrifying sight. The town was in ruins, and Kilkapul, one of the 4 heavenly kings, had summoned a gigantic monster from another world. Kilkapul invoked the greatest summoning magic, sacrificing the lives of villagers, including his own, to summon the fearsome hyperconceptual reaper known as the Thanatos. Sia attempted to strike the reaper with his sword, but to their astonishment, Thanatos regenerated from 2 half-bodies, creating another clone. Sia quickly commanded Ristar to open a portal to the god's realm and threw his party inside. He then asked Ristar to heal a minor scratch on his stomach, as they devised a plan to defeat the seemingly invincible Thanatos. However, Thanatos suddenly appeared from a portal he created, and Sia decided that he couldn't face such a formidable foe with his current skills. The gods of the unified divine realm arrived and attacked Thanatos, but their combined efforts had no effect on the Reaper. Seizing the opportunity, Sia fled while the other gods attempted to subdue Thanatos using their powers. Desperate for assistance, Sia turned to Adanella, but even she couldn't handle Thanatos' power. His last resort was Valkyrie, the goddess of destruction, who went into a rampage after Thanatos destroyed her painting. Sia called out to her and Valkyrie used Valhalla Gate to defeat Thanatos. Afterwards, Sia approached Valkyrie and requested her help in training him using a fragment of the legendary armor. Sia synthesized an indestructible sword, all while Ristarte joined the communal bath. Circe, still dismayed about his ruined cake, also headed to the bathhouse. Ristarte received a summons from Ishtar, who informed her about the Demon Lord's army heading toward Gabrahanda. Ishtar also candidly mentioned that Ristarte's scent was reminiscent of vinegar. Ristarte then went to fetch Mash and Ilulu in Ariadoa's domain. Ilulu had mastered the dragon god metamorphosis, allowing her to fully transform into a dragon, while Mash had gained a special skill called Quick, an improved version of Haste. Back in the human realm, Aristar Kaiser, the last member of the 4 heavenly kings, appeared. However, he was swiftly defeated by a legendary warrior named Wolfx, known as the War Master, who dispatched Kaiser and his minions with a single swing of his sword. Seeing Wolf's incredible strength, Seiya confronted him about his absence in the fight against the Demon Lord. Suddenly, Wolx dropped to his knees, clutching his chest, and began to transform into a toddler, shocking everyone. It turned out that Wolx was Rosalie's father. After Rosalie took her father with her, Seiya decided to explore the town. He had a minor disagreement with Ristarte, who compared herself unfavorably to the skilled and composed Valkyrie. To prove her healing abilities, Ristarte accepted a challenge from an herb seller to compete using plain herbs. However, the seller won the contest. Meanwhile, Wolx had been battling demons for 30 years. But for some unknown reason, he had transformed into a child during his confrontation with the Demon Lord's army. When he recovered, Seiya promptly refused his offer of assistance in dealing with the remaining demons and took his 2 apprentices with him. Ristarte visited the cathedral with Wolhox, where he revealed a weapon capable of killing even an immortal god, and extracting the summoned hero's true souls. The God Eater, it became apparent that Wolhox, whose dream was to be acknowledged as a hero, had hidden his true intentions all along. Wolx, who had become a traitor worshipping the Demon Lord after witnessing his immense power, had submitted himself to the Demon Lord's influence, resulting in his curse of turning into a toddler. He attempted to capture and kill Ristarte, but Seiya, along with Mash, Ilulu, and Rosalie, arrived just in time to thwart his plans. Seiya, anticipating the situation, made a pact with Wolx, offering his life in exchange for consuming an orb that would restore Wolx to his original form. With his youth regained, Wolx and Seiya engaged in a fierce battle. Seiya removed all the hidden protections on his arms, reducing his weight, and despite Ilulu's assistance to increase his speed, Seiya still lost an arm in the battle. He asked Ristarte for healing assistance to reattach his arm, and then requested the same for Wolx, who had returned to his true form. Rosalie, who witnessed the entire ordeal, became disgusted with her father. Seiya, in his typical brusque manner, reminded her that she should take care of her father before his imminent death. Tearfully, Rosalie approached her father, and Wolx, now reconciled with his daughter, patted her head gently. Wolx apologized and expressed his affection for Rosalie before passing away. With everything that Seiya's team had gone through, he finally allowed them some time to rest and enjoy themselves in town while he prepared to face the Demon Lord. Mash, Ristarte, and Ilulu wandered through the town, unable to believe that Seiya had actually suggested having fun for the first time. They visited a clothing shop, received a tip about a famous communal hot spring, and even formed an unexpected alliance with a sales clerk after a humorous encounter with underwear recommendations. Back at the castle, they waited for Seiya to return, but his absence continued until sundown, causing them to worry. They decided to search for him in the night market. As they scoured the town, Ariadoa arrived with tears in her eyes and took Ristarte, Mash, and Ilulu to see Ishtar inside a domain where the souls of gods and goddesses were kept. Ishtar revealed that Seiya had set off for the Demon King's castle. As soon as he parted ways with them, fearing that the Demon Lord had more tricks up his sleeve and didn't want to risk his friends' lives. Renner is his Fernie Sives brimming, although the Exaltation Sword had been mentioned earlier. Ristarte learned that the sword obtained from the dragon gods was a fake, and Seiya planned to use Valkyrie's Valhalla Gate despite the danger it posed to himself. Ristarte had a flashback to a journey 100 years ago, when Seiya was summoned by Ariadoa. Seiya's cocky attitude and impulsive nature led him to embark on the quest with Colt and a princess named Tiana, who was also Seiya's lover. Even after Tiana advised Seiya to take proper precautions before facing the Demon Lord, he decided to proceed with the attack. During the battle, the Demon Lord regained his strength by consuming Ariadoa and Colt, and he took Tiana, revealing that she was carrying his child. Seiya was devastated as he watched the Demon Lord defile Tiana. Ristarte couldn't hold back her tears as her forgotten memories from her past life as Tiana resurfaced. Now, with the Demon Lord in possession of a weapon capable of killing even deities, Ishtar advised them to abandon the mission and retreat. However, Ristarte, Mash, and Ilulu were determined to save Seiya. They used a portal to teleport to the Demon Lord's lair, ready to aid Seiya in his battle. As they arrived, Seiya was in the midst of casting the Valhalla Gate spell, a technique he had learned from Valkyrie to trap the Demon Lord inside a cage. However, their only hope lay in obtaining the Exaltation Sword to defeat the Demon Lord, and they had yet to acquire it, making Ilulu's life hang in the balance. But Seiya wielded a voodoo doll, made from Ristarte's locks, and forged a blade with the power to dent the Demon Lord. He thrust it into the demon and locked him inside a cage. Seiya collapsed, his lifeblood staining the ground. If he remained in that state, he'd meet his end, leaving Ristarte all by her lonesome. She cried out to the mighty goddess, willing to sacrifice her own divine status, and begged for her to unleash her full might. Consequences be damned. Miraculously, Seiya roused, completely restored, as though nothing had happened. He may not have recognized Ristarte as his former flame, but he was alive, and that brought them both joy. Their celebration was short-lived as the Demon Lord broke free from his prison. Saya summoned Valhalla Gate once more, allowing a formidable gatekeeper to devour the Demon Lord. However, this heroic act came at the cost of his own life. With a grin, Saya remarked how content he felt to have saved Tiana this time. He bid farewell to everyone, particularly Restart, whom he finally remembered. Following Sia's passing, Gaeta Brande returned to a state of peace. Mash and Ilulu, who had fought alongside him, ascended to the ranks of Rosalie's Imperial Knights, earning the respect of all in Gaeta Brande. Restarte, on the other hand, returned to the realm of the gods. Though she yearned for Saya's presence, his absence weighed heavily on her heart. Ariadoa came to offer comfort, helping her prepare for their impending punishment. Restart and Ariadoa, having caused a stir in their realm, were to face the consequences of their actions. Encouragement and kind words flowed from those around them as they made their way to Ishtar's throne. Ristart's punishment involved saving Exfolia, an SS-class world now under the control of the Demon Lord, who had defeated Sia before. Despite her lack of divine powers, she had no choice but to accept the mission. Failure meant the certain loss of her goddess status. However, a glimmer of hope emerged when Restarte produced a piece of parchment bearing the name of the impossibly cautious hero, Sia. It was a game changer, rekindling her optimism